Hail the power of Jesus' name, let angels prostrate fall.
I ask God every day, who can I help? He shows me depressed people. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. and Pastor Joe Allen of Panama City, Florida. You're watching Depression Hurts. In today's broadcast, we will discuss a graphic yet important issue: childhood sexual abuse. This carries an R rating, but it must be told. Before proceeding, I'd like you to get paper and pen handy to jot down my 24/7 crisis phone line. I'll give you the number at the end of the program. The depression one feels from childhood sexual attack or abuse is in most cases lasting a lifetime. Scars that don't go away unless treated. If not properly treated, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, occurs following the childhood abuse of a sexual nature. Our experiences as children have a large part in our health and well-being. Sex abuse on youngsters leaves scars on a person's mind and body sometimes for a long while. Many cases never get reported, and that's a shame, because these predators must be stopped. A person who sexually abuses a child belongs in jail. The victims of this abuse often feel shame, guilt, and embarrassment. Many feel the abuse was caused by something he or she did as a child. Nothing could be further from the truth. I've heard of a case of a 5-year-old boy who was once sexually accosted by an older person, and that person left teeth prints on this 5-year-old boy's body for 7 years of the boy's life. Sexual abuse is a crime that holds no statute of limitation in most states. Plainly put, abuse is any sexual contact between an adult, adolescent, and a child under the age 18. And the sad fact is, most of the abuse is way under the age of 18, even into 3 to 5 to 6-year-old children. In this heinous action, if it's coerced or forced into sexual activity in exchange for money, drugs, food, or shelter, they will do anything to try to trick a child into being abused. According to statistics, 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 6 boys are abused sexually in our country. Those adults who have endured sex abuse as a child, now in treatment, skyrocket in the numbers of 50% of women, 25% of men falling prey to a sexual predator. Persons living with a mental illness or depression, physically disabled, are more likely, I say more likely, to report sexual abuse, hopefully. Some, like I said, never get reported. This abuse can happen in any city, town, village. Things like poverty, hopelessness, loss, or racism increases the risk. In some areas, homeless kids are easier targets for sexual predators. The survivors of this abuse are likely male, and most officials do not take the first reported offense seriously, and that's sad. And it can be passed over for psychiatric therapy. This childhood abuse has a long-reaching effect when they grow into be adults. That's a mental scar that's shocking, very intense and distressing for the victim. Questions factoring in the mix include how close was the victim to the culprit, relation-wise, as most offenders are well known by their prey. How long did the abuse last? How many times did that poor child have to go over and over and over into these horrendous things? Did people whom the victim loved do the abuse? Believe them or support them? The sex abuse impairs the senses of safety and ability to trust others. Self-blame runs rampant in the mind of those abused. He or she has a difficult time with the loss of sexual esteem and self-esteem in their adult life. Also, negative feelings flood the abused mind, not being able to cope with everyday stress. They sometimes act on urges without forethought or in a possible risky venture. To add to this, the abused cannot manage anger well. A likely reaction to pain and fear is a problem with recalling what happened, feeling like existence is unreal. In subconscious efforts to blot out the early sexual abuse suffered without any intentions of ending their life, the victim may induce self-harm subconsciously. This is a reaction in a depressed state to attempt coping with those bad thoughts or feelings. Now, you may ask, what's the solution? The solution is, if this happens, report it. Report it and get into full-time therapy. Those abused are at higher risk of having PTSD, eating disorders, trouble with their personality, and even substance abuse. All in misguided efforts to cope with the mental anguish. Statistics show the abused children are likely to be adult victims of sex attacks again. They cannot know what to think or act. It's very, very important that they cope with therapy and fully expect out of personal relationships good things and not the bad. You're probably wondering, what can I do about all this complex confusion I suffer? It is vital to find therapeutic help ASAP. Like talking about sex is sometimes considered taboo. But they often cut themselves off from family and friends. This isolation makes it tough to mentally heal or feeling well once again. but it can be done. One should try to build healthy skills in trust to establish good boundaries in interpersonal relationships. It's never too late to find help and hope. Your traumatic attacks are in the past and should realize help is in the now. Remember, if you feel in danger, you can always call 911. There are other numbers too. You can always call. It's a mood disorder affecting some 28.8 million Americans in depression. I repeat, there is help and hope if you seek it. My crisis line is answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The number is as follows. Please write it down. 1-540-305-1543. That's 1-540-305-1543 for help and hope. It's time to end today's session, my friends. And until next time, I'm your host, Dr. Joe Allen of the New Hope Ministries. And as I always say, may the good Lord bless and keep you and give you peace.